Thin layer chromatography, as the name suggests, a thin layer of stationary phase is used. A thin layer of absorbent layer is coated on a glass plate or a aluminium plate, and on this thin layer plate we are making a one line baseline. On that baseline we are spotting a mixture of compounds. After spotting a mixture of compounds on the baseline, we are placing the applied sample applied TLC plate into the mobile phase, and we are dipping the TLC plate in the mobile phase, and we can keep a side. So after some time, we are getting the compounds in separated manner with the colored spots. Here the diagram represent initially we have taken mobile phase in a mobile phase chamber or TLC chamber, and whatever the TLC plate we have prepared and applied samples are placed or dipped in the this mobile phase. After 5 minutes, when we are observing that time, whatever the spots we have applied on the baseline, they are traveling along with the mobile phase. But here, all these parts cannot travel with the same manner. Depending upon their affinity, some compounds travels very fast, some compounds travels low velocity. So after 10 minutes, we are getting the different spots at different length of distance. Here, after separation is completed, then we have to remove and dry the TLC plate and determine the distance traveled by the solvent or mobile phase and the distance traveled by the each and every spot on the TLC layer. Then we can calculate the RF value, that is nothing but distance traveled by the components by distance traveled by the solvent. It is the ratio of distance traveled by the sample and distance traveled by the solvent. So in this way, we are doing the a thin layer chromatography. This is a schematic representation of the thin layer chromatography. Now we can go in this in detail manner. Next, the principle involved in the thin layer chromatography is adsorption. Adsorption. So here the stationary phase is solid and the mobile phase is liquid. So here we are taking a solid adsorbent coated as a thin layer on the glass or aluminium support. And the mobile phase we are using is liquid. Either a single solvent or a mixture of solvents we are using as mobile phase. Here the stationary phase is solid, mobile phase is liquid. So hence it is a solid liquid chromatography. The principle is adsorption. So when the samples, a mixture of samples are applied on the thin layer of the stationary phase or thin layer of the adsorbent at the baseline, when we place it in the mobile phase chamber, it is represented in the diagram. The compounds are traveling according to their affinity. So the compounds in the mixture get separated due to their differences in their affinity towards the stationary phase and mobile phase. If any compound having more affinity towards the stationary phase, it will be eluted later. So why? Because that time there is a bonding capacity between the solute or sample with the station phase is more. That's why it will be travels very slowly. If the affinity will be less towards the stationary phase, that time they will be travels very fast along with the mobile phase and they will be separated and eluted first. This is the main principle involved in the thin layer chromatography. So after some time, we have to remove the whatever the TLC plate we are dipped or immersed in the mobile phase chamber. After some time, we have to remove outside and we have to dry it. After drying, we have to spray a specific reagent. That time, we are getting the spots. So, in the given diagram or in the image, we are in a mixture, it is having three samples. In these three samples, they are not travel with the same distance. They are having different travel distances different. So, after that, we have to calculate the distance traveled by the solvent. So from the base of the line to at up to what distance the solvent is travel. So here we have represented this is the distance traveled by the solvent. So when the solvent is nothing but mobile phase. So then also next we have to calculate the or measure the distance traveled by the each and every analyte in the mixture. Three analytes in the mixture. First analyte, second analyte, third analyte. Their travels, their different distances based on their affinity towards the stationary phase. So the affinity of the red spot, the analyte is more. That's why it will travels very slowly. So the distance traveled by this spot analyte is very low. So then we have to calculate the distance traveled by the various analytes. Then we can calculate the RF value. Here the RF value is nothing but retardation factor. How much time the compound is retarded on the stationary phase. Here the RF value is nothing but distance traveled by the solute by distance traveled by the solvent. In this way, we will identify the what is the compound. So nothing but we are doing the qualitative analysis. The RF value every time it should be less than 1. Why? Because every time the distance traveled by the solvent is more than the distance traveled by the solute. Here the RF value is nothing but distance traveled by the solute by distance traveled by the solvent. Hence, every time the RF value must should be less than 0. The effective range of RF value is 0.4 to 0.8. So in this diagram, we have represented it. So how it will be happening? First, we have taken a thin layer plate, TLC plate. On the plate, we have to spot the samples at the base. Then we have to dip it into the mobile phase in such a way that the baseline should not be immersed in the mobile phase. After 5 minutes, when we are observing the whatever the mobile phase is, will be present in the chamber, it will be travels due to the capillary action against the gravity. So along with the mobile phase, based on the affinity, the compounds in the mixture also traveling. After 10 minutes, the separation of analytes will be happening. Then we have to remove the plate and dry for some time and spray some specific reagent to get the colored spots. Then we have to calculate the RF value. So this is the principle involved in the thin layer chromatography. Next, the advantages of TLC, it is a simple method and it is a very cost effective and economical, and any type of compounds can be analyzed in qualitatively and requires less amount of solvent and less amount of station phase, and it will be takes less time. Separation of micrograms of substance can be achieved. The microgram level sample also can be determined. The detection of the compounds is very easy. So here the disadvantage is some corrosive spray reagents will be there. They will be destroyed or damage the plates. So this is the disadvantage. So that's why we have to use proper reagents, and analytical and preparative scale of preparation can be achieved, and a very small particle size can be used for efficient separation. When we are separating any compound, That time, so whatever the particle size of the absorbent or stationary material coated on the plate should be small. That time we will get the effective separation of the compounds. So here it will be represent the diagram. So already we have discussed this one. Here I am representing again. So this is the we have to determine the height reached by the solid. Compulsory we have to place. We have to stay for uh, how much time means when the mobile phase will be travel on the 3 by 4th of the or 80 percentage of the plate. Up to 80% of the plate will be moistured with the mobile phase. Up to that time, we have to wait. After that time, we have to remove the plates and dry and spray reagents and determine the RF values. So here the requirements for TLC. So to perform any experiment by using TLC, these are the following requirements should we have. One is stationary phase, second one is glass plate, and preparation and activation of TLC plates, application of sample, development tanks or development chambers, mobile phase, development techniques, and detection and visualizing agents. These are the different requirements. The first requirement and the first and most important requirement is stationary phase. We are using several types of absorbents as a stationary phase. The composition of various stationary phases and the ratio in which they have to mix it with the water to make a TLC plates. We have mentioned in the following table. So, to coat the stationary phase on the glass or aluminum plate, we are preparing a slurry or we are preparing a stationary phase in such a manner that we are taking the a specific ratios of absorbent and water and mix it together and then we are coating on the plate. So here the different type of stationary phases we are using is name of the stationary phase, what is the composition and what is the ratio of absorbent and water. Silica gel H, nothing but only silica gel will be there. Here the ratio is 1 is to 1.5. Silica gel G, G nothing but gypsum. It is a binding agent. So when we are adding a binding agent to the silica gel is tightly bind with the supporting plate. So here the silica gel G composition we are using is silica gel and copper sulfate and the ratio of absorbent and water is 1 is to 2. Silica gel GF, nothing but silica gel, a binder nothing but copper sulfate and up to this is silica gel. We are using F means we are adding a fluorescent indicator. This silica gel GF mainly used for estimation of or identification of the fluorescent compounds. The ratio we are using is 1 is to 2. And neutral ammonia, alumina, nothing but alumina is nothing but aluminum trioxide. The ratio is 1 is to 1.1. And aluminum trioxide G, nothing but gypsum will be there. Nothing but binder will be there along with the aluminum. Next is cellulose powder. It is having cellulose. Cellulose G means cellulose plus binder. And Kisel means the Kisel nothing but diamatous earth. This is one type of clay. And polyamide powders we are using. These are the different type of stationary phase materials we are using. These are the different type of absorbents mixing with the water in the given proper ratio. Next is we have prepared the stationary phase material. This should be coated on a glass plate. So we are preparing the TLC plate in a different sizes. So that's why we are taking the a glass plates with the variable size are we are using. In most commonly used dimensions are the width and height 20 centimeter into 20 centimeter, that is called as full plate, 20 centimeter into 10 centimeter, that is called as half plate, 20 centimeter into 5 centimeters. Nothing but we are decreasing the width. So that is nothing but quarter plate we are using for the commercially available spreaders with the 20 centimeters. So whatever the glass slide we are using, it should be made with a good quality glass and it should be withstand to the high temperatures. So low quality grade glasses we cannot use. So we have glass plates are there, stationary phase material. Now we are preparing the plates. So how we are preparing the plates? That is nothing but preparation of the plates, and after preparation we are activating. So now with our a slurry of the station phase will be there and glass plates will be there. Now we are coating the station phase material the glass plate. For that we are having different methods. One is pouring method, dipping method, spraying method, and spreading method. Among these four, the best and good quality technique is spreading method. In this spreading method, we are using TLC spreader. So we discuss all these things in detail. Now pouring. In this pouring method, just we are taking the slurry in the one beaker, then we are pouring into the a glass plate or glass slide. Here the diagrams represented. First we are taking the glass slide and we are pouring the prepared slurry or station phase slurry onto the glass plate. Then you have to just move for spreading purpose. So here it is a very simple method, but here we are not getting the homogeneous thickness. Here we are not getting homogeneous thickness on the entire plate. At the plate, at the some place it is having thickness is more, at another place the thickness is less. So that's why this is we are not getting effective suppression. In dipping method, just we are dipping. One tube will, one glass beaker will be there. In that the slurry will be there, stationary slurry. Just we are dipping. We are taking the two glass plates and we are attaching to each other. Then we are dipping into the glass beaker. So here, what happened? More amount of this slurry will be used, and the thickness produced by the adsorbent is also more. That's why we are not using this dipping method. Next is spraying method. Like a spray. So how we are using one spray? Just the glass plate will be there. We are spraying onto the glass plate. Here also we are not getting the uniform in a homogeneous layer. So to avoid all the uniform homogeneous layer drawbacks, we are using the spreading technique. So in the spreading techniques, we are having one equipment that is nothing but TLC spreader. In this TLC spreader, first it is having a one reservoir, the TLC spreader, and it is having a one knob. So rotating knob will be there. It will be connected to the reservoir. So below the TLC plate, we are placing the glass plate, and to the TLC spreader, we are having one adjustment knob will be there here. One adjustment knob will be. So we can easily adjust the how much thickness we want here. Then first we have to fill the whatever the slurry in the reservoir, and then we have to place our glass plate and adjust the thickness with the knob. Then just you rotate the reservoirs now direction. That time the entire slurry what we have prepared, it will be spreaded with uniform layer on the plate. So here we are getting a uniform thickness of the adsorbent or stationary phase layer. So that's why the most commonly and most effective method is spreading method. So the generally it will be give the thickness of 0.2 to 2 millimeter thickness we are getting. So we prepare the TLC plates. So after preparing TLC plates, just we have to spread the plates. Just we are spreading and we have to keep a side for some time, 5 to 10 minutes. After that, so we have added some amount of water. So we have to keep a side for to dry the water. If any moisture will be present, for that purpose to remove the moisture or any foreign particles, we have to do the activation. So it will be activated by heating the whatever the plates at a temperature of 100 to 180 degrees centigrade for 1 hour in the hot air oven. Then the plates are kept in a desiccator. Compulsory we have to place in a desiccator to avoid the attack of moisture. So we prepare the TLC plates. Now we have to take the TLC plate. Then we have to make a one baseline. On that baseline we have to apply the sample. Compulsory we have to apply the sample. So after making a baseline, then we have to apply the sample by using the capillary tubes. We have to add or we have to apply a little bit, one drop of sample we have to add. If excess amount of sample we can add, that time there is a chance of we are getting tailing effect we are getting. So tailing effect means, so we are not getting a good colored spots, a tail-like structure spots we are getting. That is nothing but tailing effect. So that's why compulsory we have to take a very less amount of the sample we have to apply. And so the spotted line should not be immersed in the mobile phase. So we have spotted the sample on the baseline, and when we are dipping into the mobile phase, if the spotted baseline will be also, if it will be immersed, that time whatever the sample will be there, it will be dissolved in the mobile phase. So there is no separation will be occurs. So it make a note that compulsory the whatever the baseline the samples we have applied, it should be top on the mobile phase. It should not immerse in the mobile phase. After that, we are using some development tanks. So we have to take the mobile phase in the development tanks. So generally we are using a normal glass beakers or jars to avoid the wastage of the solvent. But for we are using some standard development tanks to avoid the edge effect, and compulsory we have to saturate the chambers to avoid the edge effect. So what's meant by saturation? Before doing the experiment, whatever the TLC chambers or TLC glass beakers we are taken, the mobile phase in the development tanks. First, we have to place a mobile phase in the development tanks and keep it aside for few minutes. So that time, the entire the tank or chamber area should be saturated with the mobile phase environment. So to avoid a which effect? Edge effect. So what is meant by edge effect means? So when we dip the TLC plates in the development tanks, that time the solvent having travels more fast in the center of the paper. At the edges, the traveling distance is less. That time we are getting a half moon structure, half circle structure traveling we are getting. That is nothing but edge effect. So these are the different type of development jars and tanks we are using in the TLC. These are already available in the our college, the chemistry and pharmaceutical analysis lab. In the most of the institutions we are using this type of development tanks. Next is mobile phase. So the selection of mobile phase mainly depending upon the nature of the substance, whether it will be polar or non-polar. So the selection should be mainly depending upon the solubility. Compulsory the whatever the sample we are analyzing and the mobile phase what we have selected, compulsory they should be mixed with each other. The sample should be solubilized in the mobile phase. In such a way we have to select the mobile phase, and polarity of the mobile phase also we have to check. And here the different type of solvents we are using is pyridine, petither, carbon tetrachloride, methanol, ethanol, glycerol, benzene, acetone. So next, development techniques. We have different type of development techniques, that one-dimensional development technique, two-dimensional development technique. So the development technique is nothing but in what way we are using. So in one-dimensional development technique is nothing but vertical. Whatever the TLC plate we have taken, that in the one direction only the spots we are getting. Like conventional type, the solvents flow against the gravity. The spots are kept at the bottom of the portion of the paper, and you have to keep the prepared glass plate in the chamber of the mobile phase at the bottom. So this is the one dimensional. In two dimensional, what happened? So in the one direction only, the spots are developed. Here we have selected. So in the one dimension only, in this direction, against the gravity. In two dimensional technique, one direction we already developed. Again, we are using that paper now in this direction. Just we have to rotate the paper, and again we have to take one baseline. Again we have to spot. Means the same paper we are using two times in two different directions. So that is nothing but two-dimensional technique. So this two-dimensional technique mainly used to separation of the complex mixtures. So after the spots are developed, but we are unable to identify the spots. After the solvent is travel up to 3 by 4th of the paper, then we have to remove the TLC plate or TLC plate from the TLC chamber. Then we have to dry for some time. After drying, we are spraying some reagents to detect at what place the compound is separated. For that purpose, we are using some techniques that is nothing but detection techniques or visualization technique. So in this, we are using two types of method, non-specific method and specific method. In non-specific method, we are using iodine chamber method, sulfuric acid spray reagent method, UV chamber method, and UV chamber with fluorescent station phase for the normal compounds, UV chamber for the fluorescent compounds. So we are using these techniques. So specific method, some specific reagents we are using for detection and visualizing the agents. Suppose if you are estimating the amino acids, so to get the spots of the amino acids, we are using the reagent is ninhydrin acetone, nothing but ninhydrin reagent. For phenols and tannins, we are using ferric chloride, and for alkalides, we are using Drogen-Raff reagent. For cardiac glycosides, we are using 3,5 dinitrobenzoic acid and 2,4 dinitrophenyl hydrogen. We are using for carbonyl compounds. So some specific reagents for some specific compounds. That's why we are calling specific methods. Suppose we don't know what is the nature of the compound. So that time we have to use non-specific method. This non-specific methods give the color or color spots with all the compounds, all the type of analytes. So how we are doing? So in the UV chamber method, we are placing the TLC plate in the UV chamber at a shorter wavelength of 254 nanometers. And when we place in the UV chamber, we are observe some spots. Then you have to make that spots, round that spots. And iodine vapors. So whatever the dry TLC paper is there, then we have to expose this TLC paper to the iodine vapors. Now the iodine vapors will be reactive with our analyte, then it will be give a brown colored spots. Next, fluorescent indicators. The compounds are fluorescent when placed under the UV light. So that time fluorescent indicator we have to use for fluorescent compounds. The silver nitrate spray we are using especially for the alkalides. So when we are spraying the silver nitrate spray on the TLC plate, that time it will be produce the dark spots. Next is sulfuric acid spray reagent, we are calling this. So we have to spray the sulfuric acid reagent. That time we are getting a permanent charred spots, black spots we are getting. So these are all the non-specific methods like UV light method and iodine vapor method, silver nitrate method and sulfuric acid method. So this is at the end we are getting spots. So this is the start point. So we are spotted. So when you are placing the mobile phase will travel up to here. Here the thin layer chromatography TLC. Here it will be representing how after development and detection we are getting in this manner. So here the baseline is they are represented at the start, and the mobile phase traveling distance at the finish we are representing. So that is the distance traveled by the mobile phase, and we are getting the spots after spraying some reagents. So we have to calculate the distance traveled by the spots also. Then we can calculate the RF value. That is nothing but distance traveled by the solvent and distance traveled by the solute. RF value is nothing but A by B, traveled by solute by solvent. So these are how we are determining the qualitative analysis. We are determining the two values. That is one is the Rx value and second one is the RF value. The Rx value is nothing but the distance traveled by the sample by the distance traveled by the standard. We are calculating. RF value is nothing but distance traveled by the solute by distance traveled by the solvent. Next, the applications are purity of the sample. We are determining for determining the completion of the reaction, for identification of unknown compounds, by with the help of the standards, and biochemical analysis we are using. So in the synthesis of organic compounds in the pharmaceutical industry we are using, separation of multi-components in the pharmaceutical formulations, and in food and cosmetic industry also we are using.